Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Thursday and Friday playthrough of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This came in second place to Pokemon Gold, and I'm playing this off of the Phoenix Wright trilogy on the Xbox One instead of playing it on the DS because there's a lot of frame rate drop. Anyway, Ace Attorney is the only game in the trilogy that has 5 cases. That godforsaken rise from the ashes, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Just about all the cases except for the 5th one is called a turnabout. Kind of the thing with this game. But Phoenix Wright is pretty much a memory game. If you remember what's going on, you pay attention, you'll be able to solve the cases no problem. But sometimes the cases get rather convoluted. Rise from the ashes, I'm looking at you. But this is the first case, and unlike the remaining 3 cases in this game, this case is actually revealing the bad guy who did it. Ironically, his name is Frank Saw It. Oh, that's another thing. Localization for the win, as Capcom has very punny names for just about every character in this game. Now then, we start off with our good friend Frank Saw It framing Larry for the murder. And this is the case that everybody would actually enjoy, because at least it gets to know Phoenix, and also this actually would know, sorry about that, you would actually get to know Mia Fey. And by the way, I was actually trying to change the transparency, because in the Xbox One version, the transparency has either high blue or not completely transparent. And for some unknown idiotic reason, they put it above the chest area of most of the sprites. And as you can tell, Mia Fey is wearing an open jacket and a bustier, but that's not the point. Point of the matter is, Mia is a very important character in, well, the entirety of the game, because her backstory basically affects all 3 games in this trilogy. I wish I was kidding on that. And Phoenix happened to be affected by her backstory as well. We won't be actually revealing why on that until we get to Trials and Tribulations. But let it be known that Mia Fey is actually the catalyst for most of the, well, terrible things that's going to happen between the 3 games. And speaking of catalysts, meet the catalyst of being framed for murder, Larry Butz. Yeah, localization for the win. But still, Larry, he's always at the wrong place at the wrong time, has terrible luck, but more importantly, he is the reason why Phoenix became an attorney in the first place. In the most negative sense, when we get to the 4th case, you'll find out why. But he is the reason why Phoenix is a lawyer. And that is because Phoenix himself ended up being in trouble. And and Larry and one other person went to bat for him. We'll meet him in the next case. But Larry is pretty much the comic relief of this. Well, him and one other person. But still, we have to prove who killed the person that happened to be in the apartment. And more importantly, we have to actually prove that Larry wasn't that guy. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We already know who did it. The thing is, we gotta prove that we know who did it. And one thing is perfectly for sure about Phoenix Wright. The bullshit game is real. Now I know what you're thinking. This is based off of San Francisco. I mean, the legal system in America shouldn't be this convoluted, except it's not. You see, localization for the win, folks. This is basically off of Japanese law, where things like what you're seeing, even what you're about to see in this case, is bound to happen almost every time. Witnesses come out of nowhere, evidence come out of nowhere, prosecutors have full authority over the case, and defense lawyers are basically, well, defense attorneys, sorry, are basically up shit's creek without a paddle unless they have enough evidence to prove the prosecutor's wrong. And yes, there is corruption within the prosecution. Whatever the case, we're about to come to a actual achievement here in this game. As you see, Phoenix Wright is nervous as hell. So in case you're wondering what the achievement is, I went there and saved the game for this specific reason. But in case you're wondering what the achievement is, the achievement is he's gonna give a quiz to make sure that Phoenix Wright is ready for this trial. Obviously, he's not. And this is supposedly the tutorial trial. And unfortunately, it's going to be in 2 parts because of how long it is. Now, all you gotta do is guess Mia Fey, and that is the achievement for the Xbox, PlayStation 4, and the Switch version of the HD collection. So, as it stands, that's your achievement right there, and you get this dialogue, but you get a chance to answer again. The judge sometimes played deaf too. And this judge, dear God, the judge is incompetent in this game at some points. So all you gotta do is just, claim that the defendant is Larry Butz. That's an obvious thing if you've been paying attention. And yeah, you're seeing the same scene twice because of the fact that I accidentally forgot to edit that part out. That was my bad. My mistake. So just select Larry Butz and we can move on with the story. You won't be able to until you do. There's no game over, however, accidentally picking Mia Fey for either that question is is an achievement for the HD version, like the iPhone version and also the Windows version. But for the DS and 3DS version, I'm about to show you the achievement for that. Yes, there's achievements in the DS and the 3DS version. Why? I don't know. That's kind of stupid if you ask me, because they don't do it. They don't give you anything. But that's just in case you want an achievement. I mean, back then achievements used to mean something in the Xbox version, but not here. Not in this game. I mean, not in this day and age anymore. So you just pick Mia Fey in that crowd of answers, and Mia will look at you like, how can I be dead? Oh, give it time, sweetheart. Give it time. Anyway, the victim is named Cindy Stone. Cinderstone. God damn it. The puns. You just gotta say hit with a blunt object, and that will be it. Now then. He's still nervous that he's gotta bail his friend out. And not just that, the game also shows you how evidence works. You see that Oh, sorry, my voice has been breaking throughout this entirety of this playthrough. My apologies. But I meant to say, you see that icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen that says court records? Whenever new evidence is shown up in a trial, always check it out to see what's going on. Check out the autopsy report, and also check out the statue, because sometimes the evidence, if you pay attention to it, will come in handy. There's actually a case where even Phoenix's badge comes in handy. I forgot which one. Oh no, that's a case of Trials and Tribulation, never mind. No wait, nope, Justice for All. I made a mistake, it's Justice for All. But whatever the case, we're gonna have ourselves a field day, because Larry, how shall I put this? He can be an idiot. And in the worst possible time, he's in the middle of a trial acting like a dumbass. And like I said, I was at the mercy of Upload Studio. That was a 10-minute mark, like when he was screaming about how his girlfriend and him was like Mark Antony and Cleopatra, who, by the way, both died. And this right here is Winston Payne. I forgot to introduce him. Winston Payne actually is the running gag of every single case. Whenever he's here, chances are he's going to get pwned. Plain and simple. So, he also introduces the passport, which is on the victim on the day of the murder. So with that said, we already know that she's traveled and she's also a model. So pay attention to that, you'll be just fine. But not just the fact that she's a model, she also gets money from sugar daddies around the world so that she can maintain her lifestyle, even though she was going out with Larry. Kind of a dick move. But she didn't deserve to be conked upside the head with a thinker. Yeah. I had to make sure that the time was still going on. That's all. I was just checking to see what time it was. That's what that pause was. And you can choose wait and see what will happen, or stop him from answering. Doesn't matter. The dialogue will continue. If you choose either one, it doesn't matter. Your choices will matter, however, later on when it comes down to the testimony. Ironically, that won't be until the next part. So, Winston Payne has a clear-cut case from what we understand that Larry may or may not have done this. Well, what you think he has a clear-cut case, but unfortunately he doesn't. Just tell him to, you could just choose either stop him from answering or tell Larry to answer honestly, and Phoenix will give him a signal to tell the truth. The judge also puts him on the spot, but hey, when Larry appeared, the witness wasn't there. Oh, and by the way, that high-pitched objection really was, Thomas Paine. It would have been more condensed if I was playing this on the DS. That's the one thing I can wholeheartedly say. Some of the DS games have a lot of condensed sound, or compressed sound, that's what I meant to say. Something like my microphone, except a little bit worse. And sometimes the DS actually has, like, good quality sound. It all depends on the game. But Phoenix Wright, there is a lot of compressed sounds here. At least the sound sounds absolutely clear in the HD version, at least. So on that note, Winston Payne just called his first witness that said he saw Larry on the day of the murder and saw him go into the apartment to kill Cindy Stone. I'm pretty sure we all know who. It's Frank Saw It. God damn it, Capcom. Puns are a crime against humanity. I just want to let you know, Capcom. Oh, and almost forgot something very important. I forgot something absolutely important. Subtlety. The fuck is that? That should be on Capcom's business card, because seriously, there was no subtlety as to this guy being the actual villain. Oh yeah. The thing about Mr. Sod's witness testimony, this is a new thing, is if you listen to his testimony and read in between the lines, you'll see sometimes there needs to be more information pressed. Other times, you will know that they're outright lying. If you have the evidence to prove they're lying, you present it. If you're not sure, you want to press the statement. And if they have a statement that's added on to the testimony, which will happen later on in this game, if you have the evidence, you press that statement. Or present it on that statement, that's what I meant to say. Or if the statement's not clear enough, you press that statement too. It's not that complicated. But the whole gist is, Mr. Frank Saw It wasn't trying to, like, do something illegal. He was going into the house to sell newspapers, saw Larry disappear, and walk away. When he walked in, he saw the girl's dead and all that good jazz. I know I didn't say it correctly, but we all know the man's lying. After all, earlier on in the part, we saw Cindy Stone dead with him hovering over her. We know you're full of shit, dude. So on that note, Winston Payne also brings up something important. There was a blackout in the middle of the building. In the middle of the day. And guess what? In Japan, there's blackout reports. There are blackout reports in America, however, the difference is you gotta actually call the electric company to get a blackout report. As opposed to in Japan, the blackout report is taken by the apartment. So it's that written document that may just be the downfall of Mr. Saw It. By the way, I'm also checking to see if their time is still almost at 10 minutes, because after all, Upload Studio kinda fucked me over during River City Girls. Left out a whole entire cutscene during Masuza's battle, or after Masuza's battle, actually. So that is the blackout record. That is going to come in handy in just a little bit, because after all, the electricity was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Now then, we'll be given the chance to cross-examine our good friend, Frank Saw It. Now, cross-examinations is what I just got finished saying. You have to pay attention to the witness testimony and read it again and again and again, in case you're trying to see where the contradiction lies. The only time you do not have that option is in the second case, and in Rise from the Phoenix, when you have to investigate Damon Gant. Why did I call him Gaiman? I meant to say Damon Gant. Yes, that's the only time you do not have that option. I'm foreshadowing it now, because those two areas where cross-examination is key doesn't actually necessarily work. Oh wait, never mind. It also applies in the fourth case too. So that's why I'm letting you know now before we get to those points. So with that said, Mia can sniff a liar from a mile away. So that means we're going to be instructed on how to do a cross-examination on this lying son of a bitch. However, I wanted to try to make this a limit of 25 to 30 minutes. So there's not much time left on this part. Only got like 5 minutes left. So Mia is basically telling you on how to deal with the testimony. But more importantly, I had to stop for a second and actually stop upload because it was about to get to the 10-minute mark and continue on. Now, the whole thing about contradictions is that if you do find these contradictions, you'll end up making the witness, or should I say, the defendant sometimes, crack. And when they do, they have to change up their story, add the new information into the testimony, or they just have a psychotic breakdown. Good lord, if there's one thing about this game, it's the pursuit themes and the breakdowns that actually make this game worthwhile. So, Mr. Sod is trying to lie like a bitch. So, where you need to go is not this one, but his last statement. That's where you need to press. Come on. Oh, no, not here. His very last statement. Here's the thing. You press this statement right here. And when you do, you actually ask him, how do you know it's 1 o'clock? And, of course, he probably tries to lie, but unfortunately, we have the autopsy report right here. Hey, we're gonna have to present it to him when it comes down time to present it. On the statement when he says, I remember the time exactly, it's 1 o'clock, you present the autopsy report.
Objection!
Now then, the autopsy report is going to be a lot different from what Mr. Sod says, because the autopsy report says 4. Frank Sod said the murder happened at 1. There was nobody there at 1 o'clock, which means he's full of shit. And look at him squirm. Look at him trying to lie. What a bitch. Anyway, Winston Payne tries to cover his ass. So now he's gonna have to redo his testimony all over again. Because of the fact that I just got finished contradicting his statement of him actually seeing the witness dead. I mean, not the witness, the victim dead at 1 p.m. So, we just gotta keep pointing out the contradictions. Now, here's the thing. The contradictions in this game are easy to find in the first case. But after a while, they aren't going to be that easy. Not unless you have the specific evidence to actually win the case. So we're gonna have to actually see the new and improved testimony of Freitzod. Yeah, he said it was 3 hours off, but here's the problem. He's gonna lie again. He said something about the television being on, and that there was a television program going on shouting that it's 1 o'clock. And the judge is so gullible as hell. Well, here's the thing. I'm about to end this man's career in part 2 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and we're gonna also end this turnabout in the next part. Yeah, that guy's been lying his ass off, but we're gonna find the truth. And the truth will not set that man free. See you guys in part 2.